LJN, the Rainbow of Doom. Most people despise the company and their supposedly crappy games, but I actually enjoy them, and that's why I now don the moniker of the LJN Defender! Hello and welcome to the LJN Defender! In fact, welcome to the beginning of the LJN Defender, since the topic of this video is the first title from the Rainbow I ever defended. Those original episodes are radically different from my current style, and I've grown to be dissatisfied with them. I've been kicking around the idea of redoing those reviews to reflect my present perspective, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So let's return to the roots of the series with Back to the Future! Back to the Future for the NES was released in September 1989, 2 months prior to the second film hitting theaters. It was developed by Beam Software, who worked on a number of the publisher's licensed tie-ins, including the previously covered Bill and Ted's Excellent Game Boy Adventure, The Punisher, and of course, the inferior sequel. Beam's credit leads into the title screen, and we're introduced to the infamous Loop of Doom. With a few exceptions, this track plays from the start to the completion of a session, and its repetitive nature has driven unsuspecting gamers near the point of insanity. Little did we realize that there's more than meets the ear with this peculiar ditty. The loop blasts out of the speakers at a brisk pace, which was apparently a decision made by the programmers and not the arranger Gavin Anderson. However, if the tempo is decreased, we discover that lurking beneath the discordant exterior is an 8-bit interpretation of Power of Love from the first movie. I'm not going to include the actual recording for copyright reasons, but if you listen to the two side by side, the resemblance to the Huey Lewis and the News composition is undeniable. I have no idea why the BPM was cranked up to disguise its true origin, but it certainly contributed to Back to the Future's reputation as one of the worst licensed tie-ins. I personally don't have a problem with it, but I know that not everyone shares my opinion, and they'd rather jam a needle into their skull than subject themselves to this audio assault. Fortunately for them, Beam programmed in the ability to turn the soundtrack off, which is accomplished by holding B while paused and then pressing the start button. This will mute the offending song, allowing us to grab a pair of headphones and swap in more agreeable tunes. Ah, much better. Music issues aside, the presentation is fairly average in quality. The action occurs in a top-down auto-scrolling format for over 95% of the adventure, which is broken up by 4 signature events that connect with the source material. The objective is to make it to the goal before the timer runs out and the picture of Marty and his siblings disappears. The latter is delayed by collecting the clocks scattered around each stage, and the picture will be fully restored after 100 are picked up. The former, on the other hand, is all dependent on your skills and reflexes. Those skills and reflexes will be put to the test by the hordes of strongmen, hula hoop girls, and bees, as well as various debris and obstacles. The bees in particular are vicious and will hunt Marty down until he's a sobbing mess on the ground. The bees can be despawned by manipulating them off the edge of the screen, but that's not always an option. Luckily for us, help is provided via the bowling ball and skateboard. These are essential survival tools, and they're permanent to boot. That is, as long as the young McFly hasn't taken any damage. That task is easier said than done, especially in the tough levels ahead. The formula stays consistent throughout McFly's trip. Get past 4 street areas and the aforementioned key events will follow, beginning with the notorious Lou's Cafe. Lou's usually ends up being a major hurdle for most, and understandably so. Our hero has to protect the malt shop from Biff and his men, who constantly stroll towards the counter in the hopes of tossing the teen out like yesterday's trash. The protagonist has to use the shakes at his disposal to eliminate 50 of the goons in order to progress. The 8x button shoots out a standard shake, whereas B sets off the super shake, which wipes out every enemy on the screen. 50 is the minimum that have to be dispatched, but the max is 99. If anything less than 99 is reached, McFly will be tossed out, but if it's fewer than 50, the previous stage will have to be repeated to return for another shot at Lose. Once the Tannen gang is dealt with, it's on to the next palette swap street sections. Collect the clocks and avoid the hazards again, and it's time to meet Lorraine. Lorraine has a crush on a boy that happens to be her son, and her love for him manifests itself in the form of physical hearts. The hearts are dispensed in a continuous barrage, and deflecting them requires full concentration. Just like Lose, 50 of Lorraine's hearts have to be deflected before we can advance, and a single slip-up has the same disastrous consequences. After Mom's affections have been spurned and the third set of streets are cleared, we proceed to the highlight of this beam effort, the Enchantment Under the Sea dance. Our hero has to ensure that his parents fall in love to maintain his existence, so he has to shred some wicked licks to accelerate the process. There's a meter on the far right that must be filled, and this is conducted by the protagonist rocking. Musical notes will fly back and forth, and they have to be played in specific positions. For example, the sharps have to be hit up high, the flats on the bottom, and the eighth notes in the middle. Shift the direction of the guitar accordingly to string together a passing performance, and George and Lorraine will kiss. It's at this point that we move on to the conclusion, and I'll put on the spoiler warning. Click on the box art to skip past them, otherwise we're heading into spoiler territory. The final levels leading up to the DeLorean are a pain in the ass. The timer seems to tick down at a quicker rate, and the aggressive bees can single-handedly ruin our shot at returning to 1985. Managing to withstand the onslaught will result in the DeLorean ride home. Lightning will frequently strike the road and hinder the acceleration towards 88 miles per hour. If the finish line is crossed at the prerequisite speed, our mission is accomplished. Of course, failure to reach 88 miles per hour will cause an instant game over, regardless of how many lives are left. That's kind of annoying, but I also appreciate that it captures the urgency of the film. The duo had one chance to get Marty back to the present, so it's fitting that we only have one attempt to do the same. If we succeed in sending McFly back, we're rewarded with a black screen of text that functions as a potential sequel teaser. It's a very lackluster ending, but the preceding experience more than makes up for it. Back to the Future gets a lot of hate from the gaming community, and I don't feel that it's justified at all. It may not be 100% faithful to the source material, but I believe that a straight adaptation of the movie would make for a boring game. To me, it doesn't matter that Beam took creative liberties, since what they came up with is fun and addicting. I've beaten Back to the Future 7 or 8 times now, so that shows you how much I enjoy it. I would definitely recommend checking this out and doing so with an open mind. I'm not trying to change people's opinions on it, but if I get even one person to look at it in a different light, then that's cool in my book. Anyway, now that our trip back to the past is wrapped up, I've got to prepare for my YouTube anniversary. Come back next week to celebrate that with me, but until then, this is Matt, the LJN Defender, signing out. Thanks for watching, everyone. Like I said before, come back next week for the 3rd anniversary special, but until then, you can check out these videos on the screen right now. Now, in the upper left-hand corner, that is the Innocent Till Proven Guilty on Big Rigs, which is considered to be one of the worst games ever made. I mean, it has a Metacritic score of 8. From what I understand, that's the lowest game on Metacritic, so there you go. So, is it really as bad as they say it is? Well, you're going to have to watch the video to find out. Now, in the upper right-hand corner, that is the first Back to the Future video, the original Back to the Future video, the LJN Defender pilot. I just wanted to put it there to, calm any concerns or whatever that if anybody thought that I was pulling a total George Lucas and these were going to go in the vault or whatever. No. The original videos are always going to be available. I prefer this one, and I'm going to do Karate Kid. In fact, I should say that the way it's going to go is there's actually going to be an LJN Defender video for the next few months, monthly. It's going to alternate until I'm done. I'm going to do new versions of Karate Kid, and I might do a new version of Jaws. Punisher, probably not, because I'm not sure if I'd be able to beat that game. I don't know. I could give my best shot, but I'm pretty pleased with the Punisher video as it is. But yeah, just Jaws and Karate Kid. But the way it is I'm going to alternate them. It's going to be 1 month is going to be, so for example, this one was Back to the Future Revisited, and the next month will be an entirely new LJN Defender, and then January's will be the Karate Kid, and then so on and so forth. But then after I'm done with the revisits, it's probably going to go back to every other month, because I don't want to burn through the LJN Defender episodes. Anyway, I'm rambling. Like I said before, that's the original LJN Defender. It'll never go away. You can watch it anytime, and you can see, it'll be interesting to watch to see how much I've grown, because I'm sure you can notice it. To see, it's tough for me to watch that. I'm going to. I mean, right now I haven't yet, but once I'm done with making this video, I'm definitely going to check it out to see how far I've grown. I mean, I've watched little bits and pieces here and there. It just kind of makes me, it's tough, but yeah, it's not a bad video. It's just, I've grown so much since then. It's just kind of tough for me to watch. But anyway, I am very much rambling, and this is going to be one of the longest end cards ever. But anyway, on the bottom left-hand corner, I'll make this one short and sweet. Unrelated on the Back to the Future front, how about the top 10 licensed games that get a bad rap? Because, spoilers, I included Back to the Future on there. So there you go. Check that out. And as always, for anybody who is new to the channel, if you like what you saw and you want to see more, click that red box right there, and that'll subscribe to the channel and be able to keep up to date with all my current content. So like I said before, come back next week for the third Cygnus Destroyer anniversary video. But until then, I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.